Namaste. In human civilization, transportation has played a massive role in knowing things better, and so in space science. With the help of launching vehicles known as rockets, launching them to space in terms of sending satellites, telescopes, and humans, we came a long way from learning more and more about outer space. Now, let's know how ISRO started its launch vehicles program, aiming not just for space but a better future for our nation. We will learn about all these topics in this particular presentation, that is genesis of rocket program, staging and types of staging, all the Indian rockets developed by ISRO, selection of spaceport. Since India was in early stage of development, the team carefully worked on elements of purpose and listed three distinct elements. Its primary purpose was to establish communication for residents and necessary satellites for occupations like agriculture, fishing, and learning weather conditions. So, first came satellite for communication and remote sensing. As mentioned before, its purpose of transportation is to launch vehicles, that is, rockets, that would transport satellites and humans to and from orbiting in space and land back on the Earth's surface. And third focus was on planning and arranging the application process of the whole Indian space program. We can also see Dr. Abdul Kalam explaining rocket design to Dr. Vikram Sarabhai in the image. We can say whatever we know about today's rockets, Dr. Abdul Kalam was the person who initiated this particular different missions. As we are here to know about ISRO launch vehicles, we will be learning space transportation systems in detail. The initial stages of Indian space transportation went like this. As we see on the side, church is located between the coast and railway lines in a place uh, called Thumba near Thiruvananthapuram on the Arabian Sea coast. You can see here that how that this is the particular station where it is the particular space program started. The reason to choose this place was that it is at the Earth's magnetic equator, so that the rocket could travel fast. On all this basis, Thumba became the first right spot to start our Indian space program and was called Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station, TERLS. The other images explain how the rocket was transported to the launch pad earlier. So you can see cycle, bullock carts are being used for this particular transportation of satellites, or your you can say particular rockets. The system went on upgrading to several other launch vehicles, starting from sounding rocket, satellite launch vehicle, augmented satellite launch vehicle. Marked has history of rockets in India. PSLV, the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, and GSLV, both Mark 3 and MK2 or MK3, that Mark 2 and Mark 3, that is called as geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle, as a present launch vehicles. And future of Indian space transportation is a fusion of aircraft and rocket technology named RLV, that is your reusable launch vehicle technology development. So this was the past, this is the present, and this is going to be the future space transportation of your from ISRO. So this is your SLV, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV Mark II and Mark III, and this is going to be the RLV. All the rockets produce thrust, and it is generated by a propulsion system to overcome the rocket's weight and the Earth's gravitational force. So before we go deep into rockets, let us learn something important. So All the rockets produce here thrust, and you can see there are different stages of different rockets, either it is PSLV or GSLV. So the weight of the payload is a tiny proportion of the total lift-off mass of a rocket, and most of the mass is propellant, the fuel and the oxidizer. Once the propellant is utilized, the empty storage tanks and engines are of no use. They also add dead weight to the total weight of the rocket. Instead of carrying those empty propellant tanks and achieving a certain orbital velocity, we must reduce the rocket's weight. Hence, we use the concept of stages. We divide the propellant's total mass into small segments and store it separately. As explained earlier, once the propellant is utilized, the small empty tanks and engines are detached and discarded from the rest of the rocket body. They fall into the ocean or water bodies. The next stages gets initiated and works similarly until the payload is delivered to its intended orbit. There are two types of rocket staging: serial staging, that is stacking engines on one top of the other; parallel staging, having the engine placed parallel to the other engine. The idea behind adding stages to a rocket is to make it easy to launch by overcoming Earth's gravitational force. Hence, in all of these stages, propellant tank is installed, which carries sufficient fuel and oxidizer. And once the fuel is totally used, the stages or engine falls off. The main principle of all these stages is to push the payload, which is at the top end, to a certain orbit. So here you can see this is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4 for PSLV, which I'll explain it later. And this is the parallel alignment for the GSLV and GSLV Mark 3. You can see that these are the different fuels, rocket stages of the rocket, which will be separated once it is going to reach to certain height. So here you now first we can learn about the types of orbit based on the altitude. So here this is your low Earth orbit, which is with 160 kilometer to 1000 kilometer. Medium Earth orbit 2000 to 35,786 kilometer orbit. Then geostationary orbit is beyond that, or around 35 to 35,786 kilometer. And your SSO, your you can say polar orbit, which and your sun synchronous orbit is of around 600 kilometers. So ISRO's first step towards reaching space is, how many are curious to know that how did we build rockets in India and which was the first rocket? So first rocket is actually your sounding rocket, which was launched from your Tumba. So let us see. The sounding rocket was the first. Now let us see next here how the sounding rocket was working and what is this. Sounding is a nautical terms of to sound, and 40 to 200 kilometer is the operational altitude for this sounding rocket. This is used to determine the performance and capabilities of instruments used in satellites and spacecraft, used for meteorological and atmospherical studies, has finite experimental applications and less complexity in building. The launch of first sounding rocket, US made Nike Apache from Tumba near Tiruvananthapuram, Kerala on November 21, 1963, at 6:25 p.m. marked the beginning of the Indian space program. The 27-foot Fury rocket soared 180 kilometers into space, releasing a glorious orange-colored sodium vapor in the moonlit sky. Later days saw the launching of two-stage rockets imported from Russia and France. ISRO started its first sounding rocket under the Rohini series which is 75 millimeter diameter, which was coined as RH-75, the first sounding rocket. uh, the first sounding rocket, RH-75, was launched on November 21, 1963 from Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station near Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, and RH-75 was a two-stage rocket. The Rohini successors improved gradually The Rohini successors improved gradually, and the current Rohini series has three variants, namely RH200, RH300, and RH560, five capable of carrying uh, payloads and have long range than the RH-75. RH-75 weighted almost 32 kgs and had a range of 10 km. ISRO marked the most outstanding achievement of Rohini series on July 15, 2015. On that auspicious day, ISRO managed to get 100 consecutive successful launches of RH-200 consecutive sounding rocket. The latest Rohini series RH-560 MK 2 weighs around 1600 kgs with an operating range of 500 kilometers. MONEX stands for Monsoon Experiment to study the global and regional characteristics of the monsoon as a part of the campaign known as the Global Atmospheric Research Program organized by the International Council of Scientific Unions and the World Meteorological Organization. ISRO developed RH-200 to launch 200 number of rockets from three launch pads, for example, TERLS, SAR, and Balasore. The new launch pad at Balasore was made operational within 9 months, and the first rocket was launched from there on January 24, 1979. Now coming to the satellite launch vehicle. Satellite launch vehicle, India's first experimental satellite launch vehicle, which was an all solid four-stage vehicles capable of placing 40 kg class payloads in low Earth orbit. SLV-3 weighs around 70 tons, 1 ton is equal to 1000 kg, and is capable of carrying 40 kgs of payload. As SLV-3 is only capable of carrying satellites to low Earth orbit, powerful launching vehicles were required to carry heavier payloads and have long range. SLV-3 was successfully launched on July 18, 1980 from Sriharikota range. With all the experience gained by ISRO's experimental rockets, SLV-3, the pioneers now worked on advanced rockets such as ASLV, PSLV, uh, GSLV, and GSLV. Launching SLV-3 from Sriharikota for the first time made India the sixth member of an exclusive club of spacefaring nations. So here you can see how the SLV-3 was going to be launched from the Sriharikota. Two, one, zero. Now, ASLV was the second generation rocket of ISRO. And what is the full form of ASLV? Full form of ASLV is Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle, and ASLV has the same range as its predecessor SLV. So payload capacity of this ASLV is 150 kg. This is of 5 stages and solid propellant in all its stages. Has two straps on boosters in first stage, which helps to deliver heavy payloads, and operation it was operational between 1987 to 1994. So this is the ASLV assembling phase. You can see how the ASLV is assembled here and how the satellites are kept on top of the particular launch vehicle. So this is the ASLV launch. Now we will be seeing that how the ASLV was launched from from Sriharikota. तक गया ये कट करना पड़ेगा ठीक है पर साउंड नहीं आ रहा है हो सकता है ठीक है now you will see now you will see the video of ASLV launch, that how the ASLV is being launched from Sriharikota. So, developing ASLV paved ways to new technologies for Indian scientists and engineers at ISRO. So, this new technologies were vertical integration, closed loop guidance, strap on technology, inertial navigation, and bulbous heat shield. So, this reduced the distance between India and space. Now next comes the PSLV rocket, and PSLV rocket is one of the satellite launch vehicle which is now very established launch vehicle which is used to launch various satellites. Even the first Chandrayaan 1 mission was happened with this PSLV launch vehicle. So PSLV means Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, also called as PSLV, and was initially designed to achieve satellites to put into sun synchronous orbit. As the years progressed, there were a lot of developments that increased the payload capacity of PSLV and widened the capability of transferring satellites to low Earth orbit, sun synchronous orbit, and sub-geo stationary orbit. So here you can see the few of the specification of your polar satellite launch vehicle. That is four-stage rocket launch, has boosters or strap-on motors. Based on the number of strap-on motors, there are different versions in PSLV like G, XL, QL, and DL. Capability to deploy satellite into low Earth orbit, sun synchronous orbit, which I already told, and geostationary orbits. The payload capacity was around 1900 kg. So PSLV is a four-stage rocket launching launch vehicle excluding boosters. The number of boosters used by PSLV launch vehicle is based on mission requirements. Based on the number of strap-on motors, there are different versions in PSLV like G, XL, QL, and DL. Technical specifications are like this: payload of SSPO as 1750 kg, sub GTO 1425 kg, and PS4, the uppermost stage of PSLV, comprising of two earth storable liquid engines. S3, third stage of PSLV. Uh, S3's third stage of PSLV is a solid rocket motor that provides the upper stage's high thrust after the atmospheric phase of the launch. S2 PSLV uses an Earth storable liquid rocket engine for its second stage, known as the Vikas engine. Developed by Liquid Propulsion Systems Center, S1 PSLV uses the S139 solid rocket motor that is augmented by 6 solid strap-on motors. PSLV uses 6 solid rocket strap-on motors to augment the thrust provided by the first stage in its PSLV G and PSLV XL variants. However, strap-ons are not used in the core alone version PSLV CA. You can, and how the PSLV rocket is built one stage on top of the other, and finally the payload in the no scene. We can also launch many satellites together on PSLV rocket. So recently you might have heard that 104 satellite was launched. So this was launched through PSLV satellites or PSLV launch vehicle only. So as of February 28, 2021, ISRO launched 53 PSLVs, out of which 50 were successful, one was partially successful, and two failed. Some of the notable achievements, successful launches of PSLV are Chandrayaan 1, Mars Orbiter mission Aka Mangalyaan, and record-breaking 104 satellites. After COVID, PSLV was recently launched on February 14 from Sriharikota, making 51 successful launches. So ISRO is now concentrating on productionizing PSLV through non-government private entities, that is NGPs, to focus on developing other advanced technologies and scientific mission. So here you can see the PSLV's lift-off mass is 320 tons, payload capacity 1815 kg to sun synchronous polar orbit. So now you can see how the PSLV is launched from Sriharikota.
Perfect liftoff as usual for PSLV. You can see in all glory PSLV negotiating the guns at.
So next rocket ISRO worked on is GSLV Mark 1, Mark 2 and Mark 3. Mark 1 is not in use currently. So here this is the different stages of GSLV. So GSLV is what? Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle is a three-stage launch vehicle with four boosters, and it has if most of the components used in GSLV like the Vikas engine and booster motors were from PSLV technology, and it developed to send satellites to geosynchronous transfer orbit. GSLV was designed to transfer heavier satellites to GTO and LEO, that is low Earth orbit, which PSLV could not. GSLV with its 414 tons lift-off mass can carry 2500 kg of payload to geosynchronous transfer orbits and 5000 kgs to low Earth orbit. So coming to GSLV Mark II speciality, final stages of this uses a cryogenic stage, which was very new to ISRO. For the GSLV Mark I version, the cryo stage was imported from Russia. After developing the Indian-made cryogenic engine CE7.5, the GSLV Mark II, the GSLV series was renamed to GSLV Mark II. Parallelly, ISRO puts effort for developing indigenous cryo upper stage and qualified C12.5 stage and inducted into GSLV Mark II program. So GSLV Mark II speciality, the first launch of GSLV was on April 18, 2001, and the last GSLV launch happened on August 12, 2021. So The first 14 launches were made during this period, including Mark 1 and Mark 2. Out of them, 8 were successful, 2 were partially successful, and 4 were failures. From 2014, GSLV marked 6 continuous successful launches. So you can see here the GSAT 7A in the GSLV satellite launch vehicle, how it is being done.
Because skies, it's an atmosphere, the noise, more of the atmosphere. Thing is, the bag, roads, systems of our stage. This was for this.
So coming to GSLV Mark III, it is the 4th generation launch vehicle for lifting 4000 kg payloads, and it is popularly called as Fat Boy. So you can see the video of GSLV Mark III launch. So coming to the GSLV Mark III, this is 4th generation launch vehicle, 2 boosters with solid propellant, Vikas engines with 110-ton hypergolic propellant, last stage cryogenic engine C20, then 10-ton payload to low Earth orbit and 4-ton payload to geotransfer orbit. So first human rated launch vehicle developed by ISRO for the Gaganyaan mission. So subsequent flights of Mark III were used to launch GSAT-19, GSAT-29 and Chandrayaan-2 satellite. Chandrayaan-2 is the heaviest spacecraft ISRO has launched as of now and successful in all of its 4 missions. Also, the first Indian designed and built human space flight launch mission Gaganyaan is also planned to go on GSLV Mark III. Necessary changes are under process to make human flight mission successful. As we can see, a demonstration of payload design to Gaganyaan uh, is happening. So necessary changes are under process to make human flight mission successful. As it is a human flight, there are limitations in flight acceleration for safe re-entry, required developments, and changes related to propellant and engine design, components, strength and integrity, avionics, and standby systems have been in progress. So this is the summary of different launch vehicles. So having a quick recap, we can see all the ISRO rockets in one image, starting from SLV-3 to your GSLV. So here SLV-3, ASLV Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle. So Mark 2 and Mark 3 is there. So Mark 3, knowing from past mistakes and failure of past missions, it was upgraded, and now it is able to lift off heavy payloads to the space. ISRO is also working on a new type of rocket, and it is called as RLVTD, that is Reusable Launch Vehicle Technology Demonstrator. So this is the most complex program ISRO has gone through. The RLVTD is a fusion of aircraft and rocket technology. RLVTD uses the scramjet engine to achieve supersonic and hypersonic flight, autonomous navigation, guidance and control system, integrated flight management system, heat shielding, 11 controlled flight are in progress. So this could be your RLVTD, which is under development, which will be used as a future launch vehicle. So for the design, simulation and prototype experimentation of RLVTD, ISRO collaborated with National Aeronautics Laboratory and the Indian Institute of Science. ISRO planned 4 different phases for RLVTD test, namely a hypersonic flight experiment, a landing experiment, return flight experiment, and scramjet propulsion experiment. RLV-TD reached a peak altitude of 65 km, from which it starts the descent phase in which hypersonic speed. RLV-TD reached the designated area in Bay of Bengal 450 km away from the Sriharikota launch station. Total flight was 770 seconds, and throughout this duration RLV-TD was tracked and monitored the performance of autonomous navigation and control system, thermal protection system and re-entry mission uh, management from ground stations at Sriharikota and shipborne terminal. In the end, RLV-TD splashed down at the designated point in the Bay of Bengal. As it was not designed to float, the system sank to the bottom of sea and was not recovered. So SSLV is the latest launch vehicle by ISRO. The objective of SSLV project is the development of a vehicle capable of launching small, micro and nano satellite. The vehicle is capable of launching up 500 kg satellite into a 500 kilometer planar orbit. The vehicle is configured with 3 solid propulsion stages and a liquid propulsion based velocity trimming module terminal stage. SSLV is 2 meter in diameter and 34-meter in length with a lift-off weight of 120 tons. It will be able to launch multiple small satellites into orbit on a single mission, and is designed to be low cost and reduce development time for commercial and launches on demand. It is designed to cater to the emerging global small satellite launch service market. A new launch pad is being built in Sriharikota, which will reduce the turnaround time and capability to launch 6 to 8 missions per year. So it will be able to launch multiple small satellites into orbit onto a single mission, and is designed to be low cost and reduce development time for commercial launches on demand. It is designed to cater to the emerging global small satellite launch service market. A new launch pad is being built in Sriharikota, which is already told. So that will be launching 6 to 8 missions. So coming to the next semi-cryogenic mission, semi-cryogenic project of ISRO foresees the design and development of a 2000 kilonewton semi-cryogenic engine with liquid oxygen and ISRO-seen propellants which are eco-friendly and cost-effective. A semi-cryogenic engine will be used in ISRO's future heavy lift launch vehicle. This stage is proposed to replace the core L110 stage of the GSLV Mark III vehicle to increase the capacity of the launch vehicle from 4 ton to 6 ton to GTO. The semi-cryo stage is developed using the indigenized technologies, and the diameter of the SC-120 stage is maintained as 4 meter. The stage is very simple and safe compared to the earth propellant stage. The engine is based on the C20 engine design and has been successfully tested for a long duration. So with approximately 117 tons of propellant loading, the stages is configured for GSLV Mark III to fit into the envelope of L110 stage without changing the overall configuration envelope of the vehicle. The SC-120 stage is designing the cryogenic upper stage of GSLV Mark II and C-25 and L110 stages of GSLV Mark III. So the major advantages of the semi-cryo stages are semi-cryogenic genic stages give better performance than equivalent earth storable liquid propellant in stages. The general trend internationally is to shift to more eco-friendly propellants, and adopting semi-cryogenic technology in our launch vehicles makes this possible. They are ideal as booster stages because of the higher fuel density as compared to LH2. Large semi-cryogenic booster stages work out to be cheaper in the long run than equivalent full cryogenic stages. Semi-cryo stages can be reused. Indian space startups are also putting effort in building rockets by themselves, and ISRO has extended technical support and guidance. Now coming to the ports, which is used for launching our ISRO's rockets. So there are three space ports. First one is Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. It is used for launching sounding rockets till date. Second one is Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. The spaceport used for launching PSLV and GSLV rockets. Third one is Balasore Range, Odisha, is currently not in operation. Let us now, so here you can see how this is your Vikram Sarabhai Space Center launch station, that is TERLS. This is your Sriharikota Satish Dhawan Space Center, and this is your Balasore launch station. So let us now discuss those criteria considered for selecting the space ports or launching stations. So eastward launches are nearness to the equator. We know that Earth rotates and revolves on its axis. With that, it causes angular momentum. This angular momentum boosts the rocket flight path, which helps to decrease the amount of fuel required. Earth's maximum angular momentum is observed from the equatorial region, and as one moves away from the equator towards pole, angular momentum decreases. So inhabited landmass closeness to sea, as the trajectory of the launch vehicle is towards east or south for geosynchronous and sun synchronous mission respectively, the flight path should avoid the populated landmass. There are chances for failure during the launch of a rocket. It might happen at any stage. Also, it is unpredictable. Sometimes rocket maneuvers can be controlled even after a system failure via standby systems. So in that case, destruct mode is authorized and the rocket will be plunged into the sea. In the worst case, if the rocket is uncontrollable, it would be better to crash in the sea than in the populated zone. So geographical location, stability or safety distances. Vast free land is essential to locate the facilities prone to explosion. Geographic location plays a vital role in choosing a launching station as the amount of thrust and vibrations produced during a launch is tremendous. The ground should be capable of providing that support. The landmass should be vast enough to hold all the workstations and storage areas needed. Apart from the above discussed criteria, there are other factors such as climate variations throughout the air, geomagnetic field, which is also considered while selection of space. So here you can see this were the different launch vehicles. These are the positions. So how it was chosen for different particular thing you can see. Now coming to Indian space startups, which are putting efforts in building rockets by themselves, and ISRO has extended technical support and guidance, which is Skyroot, Agnikul, and Bellatrix. So thank you so much. If you have any query, you can write us. Thank you so much. Namaste.